Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Mama Shiba Friends Club.
The show where we throw beans at Oni.
I'm kidding. It's Super Breakfast Friends Club. Please don't... I was going to say please don't leave, but I feel like more people would show up for Mama Shiba Friends Club.
Yeah. That's why they're gonna leave, now that we've told them that's not what it is.
Oops. Oh well. Well, let's do the show that we normally do anyway. I'm Mike.
I'm not.
And here's a theme song to put in your pasty ears.
How do you know they're pasty?
I
mean, mine are pasty, but I'm not listening.
You know, I guess I was just assuming. I'm sorry, everybody. It's Pokemon Gold and Silver versions.
Oh, shit.
Have you ever played those?
You know I have.
Okay.
You were there when I played it one time.
Oh, yeah. When we named all of your Pokemon after condiments because your character's name was Burger.
The whole time I was watching this, I was just thinking about that playthrough. And how magical it was.
I think all the time about Sprout Tower.
I knew you would.
When you fought your way all the way up Sprout Tower and everybody had a Bellsprout and then there was that one guy who had a Hoot Hoot. And I can't remember if it was me or you that said it, but one of us was just like, he's new.
Everybody at Sprout Tower except for the Hoot Hoot guy. And then you get to the top, and that's when they teach you how to use an escape rope. And we couldn't help but think of your rival using an escape rope and just hitting his head against the ceiling. And they had to carry him out on a gurney, but he thinks that he successfully left.
And that's why you go to the Pokemon Center. Because someone found you on the ground and took you to the hospital.
I mean, especially the fact that this starts off with Suicune, and we had that whole long bit with Ucene.
Oh, were you playing Silver? I forgot that part. Crystal,
I was playing Crystal, yeah.
I meant to say Crystal.
I had never played Crystal when it initially came out, but I bought it when they released it on the 3DS in the store.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I bought Crystal literally like the last day that the eStore existed. I was looking at the time and I was like, come on, there's like half an hour left.
Get that download.
So what did you think of this song, the theme song?
You know, I like it better than the original Japanese intro, but it's not as good as the English language intro.
Okay, I think I like this one a little bit less than the original Japanese one, but I like it a lot less than the Japanese Ruby and Sapphire one. And yeah, I like it a lot less than the English dub version as well.
The English dub is a banger.
Yeah, it really is. Pokemon Gold and Silver versions released in 1999. They were by Game Freak, as were the originals, and published by Nintendo. And they were the Game Boy Color Pokemon games. This is back in the days when we only got one generation per system.
Yeah.
Remember those
Dark
glorious
days.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I wasn't like a diehard Pokemon fan back then. Like, I played them all, but it was kind of an afterthought.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The first ones I was super into, but like I didn't know that Gold and Silver had come out until someone got it for me for Christmas. I was like, oh, cool.
I was way into it. I was thinking about it, and there was definitely a disconnect between like what had been announced and what I knew about at the time. Because I wasn't really like reading the magazines and stuff. You know, I was too young for that stuff. I was still just reading comics.
Right.
And when I was on the internet, I was just looking at like I wasn't looking at news sites. I was looking at fan sites. So I was seeing mostly false rumors. So when Gold and Silver came out, or when I became aware of it, it kind of blew my mind because playing through the first game, it never really occurred to me that they could just add more Pokemon.
They were so adamant. There's 150 Pokemon. We've never seen anything else.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about later, actually, because there's a few conflicts that they caused by saying that kind of stuff back then. Pokemon Gold and Silver apparently started development right after Red and Green released in Japan, and the original plan was that it would release in 1998, right as the anime ended its Kanto arc, which I think would have meant that Gold and Silver would have come out before Pokemon even made it to the UK, which would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But the game's delay led to the Orange Islands arc being made in the show, so they could stall for time until the game was finished.
Something that anime fans are quite familiar with.
Yeah, Pokemon's first filler arc. I like the Orange Islands arc though. It's some of my favorite episodes are in there. That's when they could really just get creative because they weren't trying to follow a game storyline.
Right.
This game introduced breeding, held items, the friendship mechanic. Oh, I guess Yellow had the friendship mechanic, but it only applied to Pikachu.
Doesn't count.
We got 100 new Pokemon. And it was set in the new Johto region, bordering the first game's Kanto region.
We also got a day-night cycle.
That's true, yeah. It was the first game that had a time cycle. Is there anything else? Any other major things?
Couldn't it integrate with the Game Boy camera?
I think it did, but I don't know what for.
No, I think if you caught every unknown, you could get like a frame with unknown and use that in Game Boy camera or something weird.
I think you could connect it to the Game Boy printer and like print out Pokédex entries as well.
What a weird time.
Yeah, it really was. And then Crystal, you could like connect it to a cell phone and trade on the internet, but only if you lived in Japan.
How fancy.
I know. I never even knew that was a thing until years later, decades later, probably. But that's how you could get Celebi in Crystal, by connecting to the internet through your cell phone.
By calling Mr. Nintendo himself.
Calling 1-800-Celebi.
1-800 Game Freak.
So, unlike Generation 1 of Pokemon, the Pokemon of this generation were designed with the anime in mind.
Oh.
Which is why Generation 2 has a lot of simpler and easier to animate Pokemon designs.
I never would have noticed that.
No?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Whoopers and Sudowoodos.
You mean some of the greatest Pokemon they ever gave us?
Hey, I'm not saying they were bad designs. I'm just saying they were simpler designs.
They were perfect.
I can't remember if we talked about it when we covered the Hoenn show, but I read an interview with Ken Sugimori where he talked about that, how when they designed Pokemon for this generation, they were very conscious of making them easy to animate. But then when it came to designing for the third generation, they just said, and I believe his exact words were, "Screw it."
Screw it, I missed the weird ones. Bring them back.
Yeah. So I think for Gen 3, for Gen 2, they were prioritizing Pokemon that would be easy to animate. In Gen 3, they prioritized Pokemon that would look cool in 3D, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the best-selling Game Boy Color game. And apparently, it's the third best-selling game across the entire Game Boy system family.
Ooh.
So, that's pretty good.
What was the best selling?
I'm assuming red and blue. That would be
just
my
different
guess.
flavors of Pokemon.
Yeah. My guess would be probably red and blue is number 1 and like maybe Tetris is number 2 or something.
What anniversary is this?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. This is the 25th anniversary of Gold and Silver.
That's disgusting.
I know, Gold and Silver's 25 now.
Ew. And we've already admitted to being alive when they released. We can't go back.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because Gold and Silver is the point. Like, I played Gold and Silver. I never quite beat it originally. I've beaten it now. But back when it came out, I got stuck at the Elite Four, so I never made it into Kanto.
Sounds like you're a wiener.
But I kind of like fell off of Pokemon, like during Generation 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't have fallen off for very long because I came back when Ruby and Sapphire came out, so that was the one period. You know, everybody has this period where they were like, oh yeah, I fell off of Pokemon at this point, and then I missed a couple generations, and then I came back at this point. But for me, my fell off of Pokemon period was during a generation, and I never missed one, so... Yeah, this we watched the first episode. Well, okay, this is confusing, so buckle up.
Okay.
In the dub, for us, this is the first episode of Pokemon The Johto Journeys. But in Japan, this is just episode 119 of the original Pocket Monsters series.
Cool.
They didn't break it up into a new series for the first time until Generation 3. And then after that point, every time it was a new generation, they ended the series and started a new series. But at this point, this is just considered a normal episode of the original Pocket Monsters series.
Cool.
But it's more confusing than that.
How
Because
dare you?
Although, in the dubbed version, although this is the first episode of the Johto Journeys, because of the confusing way the dub worked, where it was, or still is, I think, everything's divided into 52 episode blocks for seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first episode of the Johto Journeys, and it has a new theme song and everything, but it's also the 12th episode of season 3.
Okay.
So they just like, in the middle of season 3, they just, or not the middle, but towards the beginning of season 3, it suddenly became a new show.
Cool.
And the first 11 episodes of season 3 are the ending of the Orange Islands arc. So they still had the Pokemon World opening and everything.
Right.
The Japanese title is Wakaba Town, the town where winds telling of a beginning blow.
Yeah, they mentioned that quite a few times.
Yes. Do you know why?
Because beginnings are blowing on the wind?
No, that text, the episode title, is the exact text from the sign at the entrance to New Bark Town.
Oh, I thought you were going to have an interesting fact for me.
Well, I think that's interesting.
I assumed that based on the fact that in the anime they read it from the town board.
Yeah, but it wouldn't necessarily be the same text from the game, right?
It wouldn't necessarily, but I'm not surprised that it is.
No, okay. This was written by Atsuhiro Tomioka, who wrote the episode where Ash caught Caterpie as well. Remember that one?
Yeah, we had to watch
That
that.
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He also wrote the first episode of the Ace Attorney show.
We watched that too.
We did. So, I really liked one of those things, and I didn't like the other one as much. That wasn't his fault, though. I didn't like the Ace Attorney show because it just made me want to play the game instead. I don't blame him for that. I
don't like it. I want to play the video game.
I'm not getting enough dopamine from watching him do it. I want to do it.
I need to be in charge of my fate.
This aired October 14th, 1999 in Japan, which was more than a month before the game came out. I feel like these days they tend to sync it more exactly with the game's release.
Mm-hmm.
So we open up with Ash and his friends walking through an unspecified forest towards New Bark Town.
I think they're in Silent Hill, and they just don't know it yet.
Oh, maybe. The episode before this ended with them leaving Pallet Town on foot. So there's not much fanfare for them entering the Johto region. They just walked
there. Don't you have to take the train to get there at the very least?
You can either take the bullet train, you can take the SS Aqua, or you can take the annoying journey through Tojo Falls.
Ugh,
which is
absolutely not. Which is apparently what they did.
Yeah, I guess that's what they did, but we just don't see it. That could have been an episode.
That would have had to be its own arc.
Yeah, I forgot how much. There's a lot of route leading up to Tojo Falls, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. This spooky music that was playing over this scene, at first I assumed it was our first glimpse of Generation 2 music.
Johto Region.
It is not.
No, it's just the Mount Moon theme.
Yep.
I realized I went through all the different cave songs from Gen 2 and I was like, which one of these is it? And it was none of them.
No, I recognized it right away.
I should have, because I literally just finished replaying Red and Blue, but...
Right, dum-dum.
Well, we're in Johto, I just assumed. And also, because it's spooky music, I don't know about you, I love the Gold and Silver soundtrack. And one of the reasons I love it is that it's got... So many of the songs have this, spooky quality to them, which I think is really cool.
I don't dislike the Gold and Silver soundtrack, but it's just lonely.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe the original Gold and Silver. It's just kind of lonely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I a lot of that comes down, I think, to the music choices.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I stepped into Dark Cave and I was like, why is the music so spooky in here?
Why am I frightened? And is that the one... That's the ice cave?
Maybe. It's the one that's like...
Yeah! It's so intense!
Yeah.
It's so good, though.
Yeah, and I love the Ruins of Alph music. I come back to that a lot. God, I love the Gold and Silver soundtrack. Goldenrod City is still my favorite song on it.
I think that's everybody's favorite, and if it's not, you're incorrect, and you should change it.
They ruined it in Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
They did. I was really disappointed by that, but they gave us the little Game Boy thing so we could switch to the original.
Yeah, I did. That's what I did while I was hatching eggs. Yeah, there's actually no Gold and Silver music in this episode.
Weird choice.
Yeah, I went and looked into it, and apparently the show didn't actually start using music from Gold and Silver until the 7th Johto episode.
Okay.
That was also the first episode to air after the game actually came out, so I'm assuming that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I guess not.
I guess for some reason they held off using any Gold and Silver music until the game was out. I don't know why, though.
To keep it secret? To keep it safe?
Maybe. This is Brock's first episode back as a member of Ash's traveling group after being absent for more than 30 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why he comments on how Ash and Misty haven't grown at all.
Oh, he's immediately back on his bullshit, like he didn't learn anything.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking the same thing, though, before he said it. Because the way the two of them argue at the beginning here is so much it's exactly like their arguments in the Viridian Forest over 100 episodes ago.
Yeah, but like, think about if we were Pokemon characters. We would still be making the same dumb arguments day after day. We'd be in season 5 and we wouldn't have changed at all.
We'd probably be having this exact argument if we were lost in a misty forest. Except it would probably be the other way around, because there's no way I'd be the one leading.
That's very true. That honor always falls directly into my lap.
Well, yeah, because I'd be too busy. You'd be leading us, and I'd be like, there's a Caterpie. That's a Weedle. I don't know what that one is.
Mike, you have 18 Caterpie. You can't catch them all.
I wouldn't. No, I would never. I don't understand that. That's one of the reasons I don't like Let's Go, because it encourages you to catch like hundreds of the same species.
Yeah, but you just grind them all up into candy and feed your good one.
I don't like it.
No, me neither.
I have always caught one of each and raised that, and if I end up with a second one, it's an accident usually.
It's because I've traded you one.
Yeah, with a dumb name. And I can't bear to let it go because it's yours.
I run into that problem all the time when I start running out of box space. I'm like, why do I have this Weedle? And it's something dumb that you've given me.
Yeah, but it's got a name that makes you laugh, so you can't get rid of it. Yeah, I've got a load of Pokemon like that in my boxes. Togepi suddenly jumps out of Misty's arms and wanders to a cliff edge overlooking a lake. And we get our first glimpse of Suicune. Well, I say glimpse because it's really just a silhouette of Suicune.
It is a silhouette, but I thought it was weird that, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's head diamond.
Yes.
That it has the hole in it. You couldn't see, like, it was supposed to reflect more of Suicune's shadow and silhouette, but it was just completely empty.
Yeah, there was
Very
like
confused.
Clearly some of Suicune's body behind that shape, but I guess they just wanted to prioritize the shape because it's recognizable.
I'm sure they did, but like
it was weird.
The tendrils, I feel like, are pretty recognizable.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a weird dog.
It's a cat.
It's a wet seal.
This is the opposite of our argument about the EVs. What is it?
Yeah.
You say the EVs are cats and I say they're dogs?
Yes.
And the opposite
because they're cats.
And the opposite for these guys. I do think Espeon is a cat, but I think the others are dogs.
I'm not convinced you've seen a cat. Or a dog.
I've lived with cats most of my life.
And yet, you don't think Eevee is a cat.
No, I don't think Eevee is a cat. I think Eevee is one of those little toy dogs that people keep in their handbags.
Absolutely not.
Look at his tail.
Yeah, cats can have tails like that.
Not if I can help it. But Espeon is a cat.
They're all cats, that's why.
We're never going to agree on this.
You're telling me that gay icon Sylveon is a dog?
Sylveon I could go either way on.
Sylveon is a cat. A big gay cat.
We're going to get to an episode with Umbreon and it's going to be barking or something. I'm going to be
It's
look.
gonna be meowing. What? Oh, no. Umbreon is like the least dog.
No, Espeon is the least dog.
No, it's Umbreon. He's a smooth kitty cat.
He's a smooth dog.
Smooth dog.
He's a big brave dog.
Name one dog that's smooth. That is not Umbreon.
Houndoom.
Is he? I guess he's kind of smooth.
Dobersman, smooth dogs.
Kind of.
So, this scene This happened last time we watched Pokemon, where one person fell in a hole and then everyone else calmly followed them into the hole.
Right, that was so stupid.
And it happens here. Ash falls off the cliff, and then Pikachu and Togepi fall off it after him, and then Brock and Misty do it too. And they all act surprised one by one.
Yeah, like they watched them go over the cliff face and they're surprised by it and then proceed to follow him down it.
Yeah, and then get surprised when they fall down it too.
Stupid.
The only one who went down the cliff and didn't seem shocked by the outcome was Jigglypuff.
Yeah, Jigglypuff was all on board.
Yeah, so Jigglypuff is here. I love Jigglypuff, you know that.
Yeah.
Jigglypuff is my favorite flavor.
Jigglypuff is good.
Jigglypuff has been following the group since episode 45. And continued being a recurring character until the end of this series. But then in Hoenn, Jigglypuff only appears once, which is a crime. And then after Hoenn, Jigglypuff doesn't appear again until Alola, where it finally started following Ash again.
How did it get to Alola?
So there's an Alola episode where they take like a trip to Kanto, because the whole Alola series is focused around this school in Alola that Ash is attending, along with all the trial captains who are his classmates. And in one episode, they take a field trip to Kanto, and Jigglypuff appears and then stows away on the plane when they go back to Alola.
Why Jigglypuff?
But I love, it's the same Jigglypuff. You always know it's this Jigglypuff because it has this marker pen that it carries with it. And I love that.
It's a microphone.
It uses it as a microphone, but it's a marker pen. I think Misty gave it to it. I can't remember. We'll just have to watch the Jigglypuff debut episode again. It's been too long since I've seen it. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it since the 90s.
No, I don't know if I have either. I don't think I've ever seen it in Japanese. So
that's surprising.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's hard to find the episodes in Japanese. So, Team Rocket are also lost in the forest.
I'm trying to find a train of thought regarding Team Rocket and the fact that they've been stalking the same group of children for years now, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, usually when it's the beginning of a new region, we get some kind of reason that Team Rocket are following them to the new region. But this time we just like to assume.
Yeah.
They just did it.
They got nothing better to do.
But they happen across Elm's lab in New Bark Town, and they hide inside it to escape from a bunch of Fearow that suddenly show up. And inside, Professor Elm is too distracted by his work to even look around and see who's entered.
Yeah, this was immediately giving me vibes of my Crystal playthrough.
Oh, yeah?
Just because we made fun of him so much. Because the second you walk into his lab, he gives you all these responsibilities and tells you to run all these errands for him.
Yeah. He's assuming that Team Rocket are Nurse Joy, who was coming to pick up a Totodile for a health inspection. So, they steal the Totodile.
I mean, it does just walk right up into their willing hands.
Well, onto Meowth's willing tail. Professor Elm, in Japanese he's called Professor Utsugi, and he's played by Kazuhiko Inoue, who played Kakashi in Naruto. I didn't know that name, but I knew the guy when I looked him up.
Oh, I know who he is.
That's good. He played Anthony in Candy Candy, Ken Scott in Captain Future, Jared in Zeta Gundam,
Ooh.
and Jimru in Magical Princess.
I knew it. Anytime you hesitate like that, you give yourself away. You think that you don't, but you do.
Minky Momo.
Minky Mama, onegai kiite. Minky Mama, onegai kiite.
That time I was trying. That time I was cool, because last time you called me out before I said it.
Yeah, I was gonna do it this time too, but I was like, no, I'll give him a second. Surely he wouldn't think that this one's gonna fool me too.
It's less about fooling you, it's more about leaving the space for me to start the theme song playing in the edit. Professor Elm in the English version is played by Paul Frank, who only had one named character in his IMDb credits.
As Professor Elm.
I guess two named characters. No, the second one was Randall McDandle.
Randall McDandle!
In a 2007 video game called Order Up, which sounds like it's kind of like a less successful version of Overcooked.
Or Cook Serve Delicious.
Yeah. Apparently it was on the Wii and the PS3 and all of that stuff. I've never heard of it, but I want to hear more about Randall McDandle.
Me too.
So this whole thing with Team Rocket stealing the Totodile is very obviously them adapting the beginning of the game, right? Where one of the starters gets stolen by Silver.
Mm-hmm.
But Silver isn't in this show.
He's not cool enough.
Silver's role in this show is taken by Gary.
Of course. Gary Oak, taking everything.
And it would be pretty weird if Gary Oak stole a Pokemon. That's not in character for Gary. He's a bit of a dick. But
he's not a thief.
He's not a thief. He's the grandson of the most respected professor in the Pokemon world. So
that didn't stop him from being a little wiener.
no, I know. Oh, it probably made him a little wiener. I do like Gary in this show though. He
Oh, me too. He's iconic.
No, I mean in the Johto series specifically. He kind of stopped being a wiener jerk in this series.
I liked him as a wiener jerk.
Yeah, but now he becomes like a badass cool guy. Did you see him in the opening?
Probably. I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
He's like wearing a cloak and he's got an Eevee on his shoulder.
What an edgelord loser.
Yeah, I think he evolves it into Umbreon eventually.
Of course he does.
So yeah, they weren't going to have Gary steal a Pokemon, so they just had Team Rocket do it. Which it doesn't have the same impact.
No.
Also, you know, unlike Silver's stolen Pokemon, they actually recover this one by the end of the episode, so it doesn't really matter.
Who did you pick the first time you played?
Do you want to take a guess?
Cyndaquil?
Yeah.
Of course you did, loser.
were you Totodile?
I sure was.
Yeah. I might pick Totodile now.
I would either pick Totodile or Chikorita.
No, I wouldn't pick Chikorita.
That's because you don't have any taste.
No, I've never liked Chikorita.
Why? It's so cute.
It's just a bean.
That's why it's cute! I'm pretty sure I've named multiple Chikorita Bean.
It's fine. I don't know. I still... Of the evolved ones, I definitely still like Typhlosion the best. But when it comes to the little babby ones, it's a real toss-up between Cyndaquil and Totodile for me.
When they brought Typhlosion into the third dimension and it wasn't constantly on fire, it immediately lost its appeal to me.
Oh, really?
It's just a tall weasel.
Did you not know that was the thing, though?
No.
Oh, I
mean, the sprites are always on fire. You expect me to remember Pokedex entries?
No, I guess it's because I watched the anime.
I didn't.
Yeah, there's the difference. And also I had Pokemon Stadium too. And the fire
didn't.
The fire only flares up when it attacks. So I knew all along that this was the deal.
I felt betrayed.
Well, that was because in some of the later 3D games, well, yeah, like you were saying, like in when you see it in 3D, it's not always, the fire isn't always out. And I've seen people on the internet calling that a redesign.
What?
Yeah, they think that Typhlosion was redesigned at some point to remove the fire.
Well, whoever listens to the internet, it doesn't know what it's talking about.
I was like, no, this has always been the design. You're just used to seeing a static sprite instead of it animated the way it... But although I do think that when you're in a battle, the fire should always be out.
Yeah.
By which I mean flared up. I think when you take your Cyndaquil or your Typhlosion or your Quilava to a picnic or something, there should be no fire. But when it's in a fight, it should always be fired up. So I agree with you. Like 50%, I guess. I do like Quilava more than either of the other forms, though.
Yeah, Quilava's always been my favorite.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
I can accept Quilava being a long weasel.
Well, yeah, because he always kind of looked like one anyway, even with the
Yeah.
fire out. Ash and his friends finally find their way to the town. And didn't it seem like Ash just kind of completely forgot about the Suicune encounter?
He has one passing thought, but then no more.
Well, because Misty is like, hey, what did you think about what happened back there in the woods? And Ash is like, what do you mean? And then he has a flashback to something we saw 5 minutes ago. And then it's like, oh, yeah.
5 minutes is generous. It was maybe 2.5.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, at this point, he's so used to encountering every legendary Pokemon.
Well, I was wondering if he just, like, hit his head on the way down the cliff.
He used amnesia, so his special defense is very high right now.
So Ash is on his way to register for the Johto League at the Pokemon Center. There isn't a Pokemon Center in New Bark Town in the game.
New Barktown's also like 3 houses.
Yeah.
And this is a city.
Yeah, there's like skyscrapers. Well, they're probably not quite skyscrapers, but there's tall buildings that are like 20 floors at least.
The Pokemon Center itself looks like a stadium.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the Viridian City Pokemon Center we saw
Yeah.
in the second episode.
Looks more like a hospital than a shack that you put your Pokemon in.
It looks like an art installation. Brock's real excited to see Nurse Joy, but she's not here, and I love the Chansey manning the desk.
Me too.
あれジョイ様
It's so cute.
But like, these Chansey have medical degrees. They go to the same school as Nurse Joy.
No, there's a special school for Chansey.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, because Jessie wanted to be a Nurse Joy, but she couldn't afford to go to the Nurse Joy school, so she went to the Chansey school.
They still have a medical license.
Yeah, they do. I'm not making that up, by the way. That's real canon.
I know you're not telling me, because I already knew that.
There's an episode, I think it might be in this series, there's an episode where Jessie meets a Blissey that was her friend from Chansey's school.
That's cute.
So yeah, there's a video message that she's left saying that she's at Elm's lab right now and she'll be back by 2. But it's already 3:30 and she's not back.
What? The nerve of this woman.
Yeah, right? I'd be pissed. I wouldn't be worried like Brock is.
Taking a long lunch break. Get back to work.
But can't the Chansey just register him for the Pokemon League? Is that above its pay grade?
Maybe. Can perform open heart surgery. Cannot work a PC.
I prefer Lucky as the name for Chansey. I'm used to Chansey, but Lucky is a better name for it, I think.
I have no opinion.
Also, they changed Lucky to Chansey, but they didn't change the Lucky egg to the Chansey egg.
That's fine.
Silly.
You're still lucky when you find it.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't make it as clear that it's a Chansey egg.
What about
I mean,
the
other
lucky
than
punch?
the fact that you have to get it from Chansey. Oh yeah, it's the Lucky Punch as well.
I need to know that this fist came from a Chansey.
It definitely makes it clearer what you're supposed to do with it.
Fight Chansey with it.
So Brock's all worried. He insists they go look for her, and they get to Elm's lab, and it's an active crime scene. And there's like sirens going off and everything. Cops all
They
around.
don't seem too busy though. Not Nurse Jenny. Officer Jenny's just standing outside
Yeah, and all the cops are just crouched down looking at a single blade of grass each, so...
Is this the culprit?
I love that Ash and his friends just casually walk into this crime scene, and Officer Jenny is so taken aback that she doesn't really do anything about it. She's just like, oh, wait. Wait, did those 3 children just brazenly walk into my active crime scene?
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?
She comes in and yells at them, but that's about it. But it's like, they get in there, and they've been in there for a little bit before she catches up, and it's like, hey, you can't be in here.
But by that point, they've already been appointed to the case.
They've already inserted themselves into events. I love Joy is here. She's like scolding Professor Elm for being so careless. And Brock runs in and is like, please punish me too, mommy.
You can arrest me if that'll make you happy.
Yeah,
Put me in handcuffs.
He's really displaying his kinks this episode.
Brock's kink is women. I don't think it matters what they're doing to him.
I think you're right. If he sees a woman doing anything to anyone, he's going to get jealous.
This guy is just bricked up 24/7 whenever there's a woman afoot.
Honestly, I respect it. Because he's, I want to say he's not really a creep about it. It's not like he's trying to take upskirt shots or something.
That's true. We've seen much worse in some of these.
Yeah. He walks right up to them. He tells them exactly what he wants, and he seeks consent every time.
He dumps all of his emotions directly onto her shoulders within minutes.
So this Totodile that's been stolen was meant for a new trainer who's starting tomorrow. And Elm shows them a Cyndaquil that he's holding, which is very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a picture of a Chikorita because the Chikorita has already been picked up by its trainer. So I guess in the Johto region, they don't make the choice in person. I guess they choose beforehand and then just come and pick it up.
They email which one they want.
Yeah. Because when Ash went to get his starter, it was an in-person, like he had to go to the lab and make the choice.
Well, he didn't really have much of a choice to make.
No, and
he was late.
I find it so funny that Professor Oak still put him through all that, knowing that there weren't any Pokemon left.
What a jerk.
Just like, oh, you want that one? Too bad, it's gone. Oh, you want this one? Too bad. I guess you'll have to have the last one that's... Oh, I'm sorry. You should have been on time.
You just get this stupid Pikachu that hates everyone.
This one's a problem. Good luck. So yeah, Ash, seeing these new starters, he mentions the starters that are given away back home in Pallet Town.
I wanted Professor Elm to be like, I know that, you idiot! I'm a Pokemon professor!
Yeah, I guess Ash doesn't mention Pallet Town, does he? He just mentions the starters, and then Elm is just like, oh, so you're from Pallet Town?
Yeah.
And asks whether they know Professor Oak. And Elm tells us that Professor Oak was his teacher and is now his rival.
I love that for him.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's one-sided.
Oh, absolutely. Professor Oak probably barely remembers him. He just taught a class once that had this guy in. He teaches a lot of students.
Yeah.
Professor Elm, I have always felt like out of all of the professors we've had, Professor Elm is the least memorable. Like, I like him, but I feel like he's the least involved in his storyline. Because you deal with Professor Elm at the very beginning, and then you deal with Professor Oak for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I have a hot take.
Okay.
They're all forgettable except for Oak. I guess Kukui. I like him too.
I like Kukui. I like Sycamore.
Who?
He's the young, hot professor from X and Y. I know you don't remember X and Y in general.
No, I try to forget.
But he was pretty good, I thought. Who else have we had? I like Birch, just because he's like the feral professor.
The feral professor.
Yeah, he's the one who's never in his lab. He's always outside.
Is he from Ruby Sapphire?
Yeah, he's May's dad. Who else did we have? Rowan. He's pretty boring. I like his design, though. The grumpy old man professor with the beard.
Not ringing a bell.
He's the Diamond and Pearl one.
Oh, absolutely not ringing a bell.
Yeah, he had a beard. That's all I remember. He had a beard. I'll just keep saying that.
Oh, that guy. I'm looking him up. So I do legitimately see him.
Okay. Juniper, I don't really remember. I remember she had a dad who was also called Professor Juniper.
Oh, yeah, I remember her. Vaguely.
Who else was there? Oh, I guess the professor in Paldea is different depending on which version you play.
Oh.
Because you will have had the man who was obsessed with the future, and I had the woman who was obsessed with the past. I don't remember their names, though.
For some reason, I thought you were talking about Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield, I don't even remember. Who the hell was the professor in Sword and Shield? Oh, it's like an old lady, I think. I couldn't tell you her name, though.
No.
Magnolia? I think it was Professor Magnolia. You didn't play Sword and Shield, so I don't expect you to know.
No, but the Scarlet and Violet professors are Sada and Turo.
Okay. I guess there's a ton of professors in Scarlet and Violet since you're going to a school. I guess all the teachers are professors.
I mean, that's not the same.
No, not really. I want to know what's going on with Oak. Is he dead? Because time is passing in the Pokemon world. We haven't seen Oak since Diamond and Pearl.
We saw his relative in Alola.
Yeah, and he's an adult now. So how old is Oak? I need to see him. Oh wait,
Go
you're
visit him in
talking
the
about
retirement home.
You're talking about his cousin. I was thinking you were talking about Blue.
No.
Because Blue has aged. He's now like in his 20s.
Yeah.
So what's Oak's deal?
Well, he's probably older than 50.
Thanks.
Am I wrong?
No, I feel like you've chosen a ballpark where it's impossible for you to be wrong. So Elm starts talking about Oak and how he knows him, and he starts talking about a report he wrote while he was at university, and Brock is like dutifully listening, and everyone else just wanders off to pet Cyndaquil.
I love that Brock actually cares, though.
Yeah, I like when they realize that Elm is still talking, they look back, and Brock is now like sitting on the floor listening, and Elm has gathered a stack of books that he's talking about. And definitely the implication, like obviously Brock is actually interested because Brock is the studious one of the three. He's the one who actually wants to hear what Professor Elm has to say. But also, I really like the idea that he's just stuck out of politeness.
Yeah,
like,
that's also an option.
Haven't we all been in this situation where someone is talking about something that nobody's interested in and they will not stop? And then you're stuck there because you're the last one.
Yes.
Everyone else has wandered off and escaped the conversation, but you're the last one, so you can't.
You've missed the cue and now you're stuck.
And I love the idea that that's what's happened to Brock here. But I don't think it is.
No.
When they're talking about this kid who's coming to get Totodile, Ash talks about how he couldn't sleep the night before he got Pikachu. And then Misty points out he overslept. And I loved Ash's reaction. Because he has this moment of like shock and embarrassment. Where like I don't think he knew that she knew that. And then he quickly just completely changes the subject. Like drops it entirely.
Both things can be true at once.
Oh yeah, both things are true. He overslept because he couldn't sleep the night before.
Yeah. What are you freaking out about, Ash?
He's just embarrassed that she knew. I like, how did she know? I bet Ash's mum told her while they were at Pallet Town.
Probably.
Like,
That sounds like something a mom would do.
yeah. One of the cops runs over with a footprint impression of the thieves. I wonder who these could be.
I love that it's perfectly isolated, one footprint each.
Yeah, it's a boot, a high heel, and a paw print.
And a long cat paw.
But we don't see whether or not Ash and his friends identify that it's Team Rocket from that. It just kind of cuts
I don't think
away.
they did. They just follow Jenny's Growlithe,
Yeah.
who's sniffing them out.
So now we go to Team Rocket, where Jessie is running around with Totodile clamped firmly on her hair. Team Rocket was so good in this episode.
They were, but also this phone scene that comes up went on a little too long.
Oh, you think? I thought it was
I
great.
think.
But before that, we've got the Dareda. Who's that Pokemon, Mel?
Pikachu.
It's Fearow.
Ugh.
Why is it Fearow?
Well, Firo was at the very beginning.
Yeah, but why isn't it Totodile?
We'll have plenty of times to see Totodile. They're never going to use Firo again. Who likes Firo?
Oh, this is the last appearance of Fearow. They gave it a fond farewell.
Yeah. A fond farewell, if you will.
So yeah, Team Rocket are taking a break at a bench that they found next to a payphone. Jessie still can't shake off the Totodile. She basically just wears this Totodile as a hair accessory against her will for most of the episode.
Yeah. For the rest of the time we see her, basically.
I loved the animation where she's like whipping her hair around trying to get it off. It's so good.
Using him like a blunt weapon.
And the chemistry between the actors at this point is really good. Like, once they had been doing it for a while, these three just bounce off each other really well. That's true in the English version as well. But the Japanese ones, there's something about the chemistry these three actors have. I've watched interviews with them and they're just really funny to listen to. So yeah, Meowth wants to call the boss and let him know that they've caught stolen a Totodile. But Jessie also wants to call the boss. So while they're fighting about who gets to do it, James just casually walks by them into the phone booth, inserts a coin. And like, I thought the pacing of it was really good.
I thought it went on too long because the joke was so predictable.
I mean, yeah, you know exactly what's happening, but I liked it.
I just felt like it was wasting time for the plot to catch up with them, because that's exactly what happened.
Eventually, Jessie and Meowth realize what he's doing because he turns to them to ask them the phone number because he doesn't remember it. James was always my favorite.
James is everyone's favorite, as it should be.
I feel like you could tell me that any one of the three of them is your favorite and I would understand.
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't trust you. If you say anyone other than James, we're not friends.
What about you don't understand people who like Jessie the most?
The most? No.
Okay.
I like Jessie, but not the most.
Fair. I mean, obviously, I agree with you, but I think all three of them are great. I just like James a little bit more. I love Ash and his friends show up with Officer Jenny. I always want to call her Nurse Jenny. What is that?
I don't know, but I did it too.
I know you did. That's why I'm saying it. So they do the motto with Totodile on Jessie's hair the entire time.
I just love that Officer Jenny's like, what was that?
That's probably how
by
I'd
this point,
react.
we don't really think about it anymore.
Yeah.
But she's never seen it.
I feel like that's the emotion she has for the rest of this scene.
Yeah.
Like, she never really recovers from the motto. Because she doesn't really do anything. I guess she sends Growlithe out ineffectually for a second.
I mean, to be fair, they use like 1 million Pokemon at once.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's in the rules.
No. They don't even try to fight this time, though. They just try to run. They're just trying to get out of there at first.
They're sticking around an awful lot for people trying to leave.
Well, they give their little speech and then they all just go, bye! And then run off.
That's true.
In English, by the way. Yeah, the only reason they try to run away, but Ash sends out Bulbasaur and trips them with Vine Whip. And then they're still trying to escape because James sends Weezing out just to make a smoke screen.
Yeah, but they didn't poof away like ninjas.
But then Ash sends Charizard out and blows the smoke screen away. And then Bulbasaur snatches Totodile off of Jesse's hair. Well, eventually. Snatch isn't the right word. I thought he was going to rip her hair out.
There's too much product in that hair. It will not rip easy.
Well, apparently she got a lot of split ends. And that's the worst that happened.
Yeah.
But then it's only once they've lost the Totodile that Team Rocket actually make a commitment to sticking around and fighting about it. And I was thinking about it, because like usually they are the instigators of the fight, but that's because usually they don't have any Pokemon yet and they're trying to get them. This time Ash was the aggressor. That's because Team Rocket already had the Pokemon. They were just trying to get away. Jenny sends Growlithe to arrest them, but Weezing blinds it with Sludge. This is how they always use Sludge in this show, I feel like. Just straight into the eyes.
I feel like that's how it should be used.
Yeah, what does Sludge do? I can't remember.
Pretty sure it just has a chance of poisoning. Sludge is not a good move.
No, I never use it. That's why I don't know what it does. Sludge does damage and has a 40% chance of poisoning.
40 is a pretty high percentage, but you have way better options.
It's also just regular poison. Like if you're gonna deliberately poison something, use toxic. You gotta get that deadly poison.
Gotta get that yuck.
Yeah. It was a long time before I realized there were 2 types of poison in Pokemon.
Yeah, but you're just too busy reading the Pokedex like a dork.
Shut up. I like the Pokedex. At this point, I really felt like the show was just reminding us of all the Pokemon that Ash and the villains have.
Yeah.
Because they all come out. James
Yeah.
brings out Victory Bell, Jesse brings out Lickitung, Ash sends out Squirtle, Jesse sends out Arbok. I'm pretty sure that's everybody that both sides have at this point.
All of Ash's unevolved Pokemon except Charizard.
Yeah. Ash wins because he has all of his Pokemon do like a combined beam attack. But Totodile's the one who actually sends Team Rocket blasting off.
Yeah.
Just with a little
he's
water gun.
the best starter.
It seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like it shouldn't have fired them that far.
That's because you don't have faith in Totodile.
That's true.
You don't deserve Totodile.
Well, one of the reasons I always pick Cyndaquil is because to me, Totodile makes the most sense as Silver's Pokemon. I guess for you, he usually has a Chikorita.
I guess.
That doesn't seem right
Which
to
is
me.
way better.
Well,
This moody, edgy, tough boy with his little bean.
with his big flower.
Yeah. How is that not the perfect combination?
You're right. I do love the idea that he got in there and it's like, all right, here are my choices. Yeah, there's the fire monster or the flower. I'm going to take the flower.
Yeah.
I love how baffled Jenny was by this whole thing. Like, Team Rocket have been blasted off into space, and then she's just like, I was gonna arrest them, though.
If you haven't watched 100 episodes of this show and you just watch 3 people get blasted away, that's a pretty normal response.
3 people you were trying to arrest.
Right, they're still criminals. They're still at large. Ash never brings them to justice.
Remember in the second episode when they first appeared and there were like wanted posters for them up?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? No one cares about them anymore.
Well, the only person that they're heckling is Ash,
guess
and he
so.
doesn't seem to be that bothered by it.
Yeah, they were considered really dangerous criminals for like a week.
Now they've dropped off the radar because they've spent 2 years following children around. Which I feel like
should be
should
a
put them
bigger
on a
crime.
different radar.
Yeah. Anyway, they call Professor Oak at the end to update him on what's going on. And Professor Elm interrupts to speak to his old teacher and to compliment Ash. And I laughed when Elm referred to Ash as a favorite student of Oak, and Oak is like, "Oh, whoa, hey, let's not go crazy."
Making a lot of assumptions here.
I don't know, I won't call him a favorite student.
I did have to ask him his name when he walked into my office.
And his gender.
How do you know he wasn't just checking his pronouns?
That's true. That does hit differently now, doesn't it? Like, there was a time when someone walking into his room and him saying, "Are you a boy or a girl?" made him seem like a senile old man. But now it just makes him seem like he's respectful and, progressive.
Mildly senile.
Yeah, once Elm gets control of the phone, Ash and his friends realize they're going to be waiting for a while.
Best just go.
In the background, we hear Elm start saying something about the 3 Eevee evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume they were like hinting that he thinks there might be more than 3 actually. And that's like the kind of stuff we were talking about earlier, where it's like a remnant of how Gen 1 treated 151 Pokemon as all the known species of Pokemon.
Right.
It became kind of awkward once new regions started appearing.
Right, once there was an entire neighboring region full of 100 Pokemon that apparently no one in Kanto had heard of.
Yeah, and it's very clear in every one of these new generations, it's very clear that these aren't all newly discovered because there's like ancient statues of them and stuff. Because in the beginning of Gen 2, when new Gen 2 Pokemon started showing up, they were like, "Oh, this is Togepi. It's newly discovered. We've just found out about this." And like, "We've just discovered that Onyx can actually evolve." And they treated all of these as brand new discoveries that have just been made. But then you actually play the game and it's like, yeah, we made notes about Onyx in the Hisui region 150 years ago and how it evolves into Steelix.
And how do you explain the ruins of Alf?
Yeah, right?
We've got sliding puzzles of these Pokemon. Ancient sliding puzzles.
Yeah, so they don't do that anymore. These days, it is just like, you go to a new region and it's just like, "Oh yeah, these are the ones native to here. So you've not seen them in those regions because they're native to this one."
Yeah.
And I guess the Pokedex number is just like the order that they were recorded in a Pokedex. Because the Pokedex is new. Professor Oak invented that.
Yeah. But then wouldn't all these things be getting identified simultaneously?
I think Professor Oak just assigns a number. Some of the stuff in the Pokedex, it like feels made up, doesn't it? Like when it gets to like Ponyta and it's like, "Oh, this thing can jump the Eiffel Tower." And I'm like, can it? Can it really jump the Eiffel Tower, Professor Oak? Or are you just getting a bit excited?
It's hard, or its hooves are so hard it can crush diamonds. Its internal body temperature is 1,000,000 degrees.
It's hotter than the surface of 2 suns. Professor Oak, were you drunk when you studied this?
The Pokedex is fan fiction.
He's just a very excitable old man. Or it's like the whole like piranhas strip the flesh off a cow thing. Because
Right.
like real piranhas only eat things that are dead. But there was this whole thing where somebody, I can't remember the exact details of it. So I'm sorry for anybody who wants to know the full story. Go look it up. But it's an interesting story. But there was somebody who had like brought people to the Amazon and he wanted to impress them with piranhas. So he like starved these piranhas until they were so hungry that they would eat something that was still alive, and then like fed something still alive to them in front of everybody. And then that perpetuated this myth about piranhas being really dangerous, but actually they're carrion feeders. They don't eat things that are alive.
But if they bit you, it still probably hurt.
Oh, for sure. So you don't want to step on one.
Or perhaps put your hand in its mouth.
No, and like say insults about its mother. You know, if you were trying to get it to bite you. So Ash registers for the Johto League. And
I forgot that that's what this episode was about.
that was his
Like,
goal.
could he not just step up to a PC and do it himself?
I don't feel like registering for the league has ever been a thing before or after this.
Before or since?
Yeah, I think you just get a gym badge. I think you just get 8 badges and take them to the league, and then they're like, oh, okay. I don't think
Yeah.
you have to, like, register.
They don't need to know your whereabouts.
Yeah.
Put a GPS tracker inside your flesh.
And she gives him this guidebook, and I don't know what this guidebook is for. Maybe it's a map of, like, the region? I don't know.
Who does?
I don't remember it. She tells him he needs
No.
8 badges to qualify, which is standard. And she tells him the nearest gym is in Violet City, or Kikyo City, as it's called in Japanese. This gave me a flashback.
To what?
Before Pokemon Gold and Silver came out in English, I had like a knockoff fan translated version. It was on the Game Boy. It was an actual Game Boy cartridge.
Oh.
But I got it from this like shady little store in town. But it was only translated up until like the Ruins of Alph, I think, and then it just devolves into gibberish. But
Oh.
the names weren't translated. So Violet City was called Kikyo City. But I didn't really understand enough about Japanese to know how that was supposed to be pronounced. So I thought it was Kikyu City.
Kick you, City!
I thought it's the city where they kick you. And I forgot all about that until I saw that name again in these subtitles.
That's pretty good.
Because that's how it's spelled. Kick you.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So anyway, Ash and his head
At his head?
Ash and his head. Ash and his friends head off to Violet City so that Ash can challenge Faulkner and his Pidgeotto
Oh, that guy.
with his level 100 Pikachu and a Charizard.
If he loses, if he has to do a Brock arc and go train and come back, I will lose my mind.
No, yeah, but if he loses to Whitney, I'll understand it, but not Faulkner.
Yeah, this is before electric types couldn't get paralyzed, so just stomp on him, body slam it till it's paralyzed, and keep stomping.
I got stuck on Whitney for a while when I played.
I don't think I had too much trouble the first time I fought her, because it doesn't stick out in my mind at all. But I remember in Heart Gold Soul Silver, I was like, I am a way better trainer now. This is gonna be easy. And she was still the worst.
It's rollout, man. It's rollout.
Yeah.
Once she gets on a roll,
Boo.
she can take out your whole team so easily if she really gets going on that rollout train.
Yeah. Does she use the defense curl rollout wombo combo?
She might. I can't remember actually. Why, is that a thing?
Yeah, if you use defense curl before using rollout, it increases your damage.
Oh, I don't think I even knew that.
And that's why you are a dork in the wrong way.
You're a dork.
Whatever. At least it makes sense. I learn it through the practical use of it.
I learn it through you tell me 10 years later, 25 years later. Did it work that way in Gen 1 though, or is that a later thing? Gen 2, I mean.
I'm looking it up right now. Oh, it's literally right here. Defense curl can be used as the first move of a... Oh, wait. That's Pokemon contest, but what about... It doesn't say anything about not Pokemon contest. But it's real, I'm telling you.
Rollout inflicts damage over 5 turns, doubling in power for each consecutive hit. The power will reset after 5 turns or if rollout is interrupted. It is a consecutively executed move. Rollout's power is doubled in addition if the user has previously used Defense Curl. So yeah, there you go.
Told you.
It doesn't say that was a change though, so I'm assuming it always worked that way.
I think it might have. Like, stomp and minimize.
Yeah. In which case, let's look up Whitney's moves and see if she had Defense Curl as well. I bet she did.
I bet she did too.
Oh no, Stomp, Attract, Milk Drink, and Roll Out. I forgot she had Milk Drink. God, I bet that pissed me off.
I bet it pissed off everybody. And then Attract, so if you have a boy Pokemon, you're just locked for 50% of your turns.
Yeah.
And if you're using your starter, odds are pretty high that you have a boy Pokemon.
Yeah. 75%, isn't it?
I think it's higher than that. I think it's 80 something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because I think it's 1 in 3. No, 1 in... I don't know.
You don't know these things, because you're not an elite breeder like I am.
Mel! We have to attend Meowth's party.
Must we?
Yes! Come on, he invited us.
三日月型の特別チケットに金色銀色クレヨンでニャースのパーティーって書いたんやら気球に乗ってばらまくのにゃキンキンキラキラ夕日が沈めばそれがパーティー始まりの合図銀河の絨毯敷き詰めた夜空のパーティー会場
I didn't like the song, but I loved everything else.
Okay. Do you know any of the history of this?
No,
This wasn't familiar to you at all?
no.
Meowth's Party was a tech demo showing off the capabilities of the GameCube.
Oh,
Yeah, this was, it was shown at Space World 2000 when the GameCube was first revealed to the public. But this episode aired more than half a year before that.
oh.
So I'm unclear on what came first. A lot of the animation and scenery here is different from what was in the demo. But the demo seemed to be like somewhat playable. Hang on, I'm gonna find the demo video for you.
Did it have Paper Jesse and James in it?
It did not. That is only in this version. Jesse and James parts are instead sung by the Squirtle Squad in the demo. It's still Jesse and James's voices, but they're coming out of the Squirtle Squad. Here's the GameCube demo. You'll notice it's like same but different to what we watched.
Yeah. The facial animations aren't quite as exaggerated in the hilarious way that I loved. Yeah, that's the thing that I saw.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that the GameCube tech demo came first, because I don't know why they would have made this otherwise. You know?
Funsies.
I don't know why they would have done it all in 3D like this, and like... Because the whole point was it's a really high-res Meowth model, and then all the other Pokemon in the room are the N64 models, but the impressive thing is how many of them were there.
Right.
Like, that's what they were showing off for the GameCube there. A lot of people thought that Meowth's Party was a game that was coming out. I don't think it was ever a game that was coming out. I think it was literally just a, like, look at what the GameCube can do.
What if it was like an Jammer Lammy?
That would have been great. Because, yeah, the Jesse and James in the version on the show, they are animated exactly like Parappa characters.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. They're the only things that aren't 3D. It's just Jesse and James as like 2D Parappa cutout characters popping up every now and then to sing their parts of the song.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, so they're not there in the GameCube demo. On August 19th, 2000, which was a few days before the tech demo was shown at Space World, Kids WB aired a dubbed English version of the song.
Yeah.
And then a week later, for some reason, possibly by mistake, they aired it again, but this time in Japanese. So that's interesting. I didn't know that.
No.
And then after Meowth's party, we get Professor Oak's lecture, where he gives us a lecture about Zubat.
Oh, I already forgot that happened.
It was another odd choice to focus on a Generation 1 Pokemon.
They're not ready to admit that it's Generation 2.
No, I'm not sure that they know. And then the next episode, the preview shows that Ash is going to meet and battle the newbie Chikorita trainer that Elm mentioned in this episode. And he's going to use his Charizard against her.
That feels mean-spirited, Ash.
He is going to make her quit real early. No, you know what he's going to be? Ash is going to be the flock of Spearow in her story. He's like, you know what? My first day was real bad. I'm going to make sure that her first day is real bad too.
If you can make sure that your starter survives, then you're worthy of your starter.
She just runs into the Pokemon Center with a singed Chikorita. Misty, lend her your bike. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Oh, wait, I already destroyed it. Good luck getting there, loser.
Someone else comes up with a bike and is like, you can borrow mine. He just has Pikachu zap it.
Whoops.
He is the bike destroyer. We've watched him destroy multiple bikes. I kind of forgot that he destroyed Maze as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he destroys Dawn's bike in Gen 4 as well.
That just feels spiteful.
Yeah, now it's a pattern of behavior. So what was your opinion on this episode?
Knowing now that it was just a continuation of the original series, it makes more sense. Because, like, there's no fanfare. I was like, this just feels like any other episode.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel special at all.
So unceremonious about it, right?
Yeah.
This is what I kept thinking. Every other episode that introduced a new region, including Kanto, has a lot of sweeping shots of the scenery showing groups of new Pokemon just kind of existing in nature in this new region.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that during the theme song at the beginning. But the episode itself, there's only 3 new Pokemon that appear. And the only wild Pokemon we see for the whole episode is a bunch of Fearow.
Yeah.
Like, why weren't they Noctowl or Skarmory or something? It's so strange. We still need to talk about the dub.
Oh my god, why isn't this over yet?
Here's the theme song.
It's a whole new world we live in. Pokemon Johto. Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster. Make their way to the top of the hill. Each time you try, gonna get just a little bit better. Each step you climb, one more step up the ladder. It's a whole new world we live in. It's a whole new way to see. It's a whole new place with a brand new attitude. But you still gotta catch 'em all. Be the best that you can be. Pokemon Johto. It's a whole new world we live in. But you still gotta catch 'em all. And be the best that you can be. Pokemon Johto. Pokemon Johto.
I love this theme song.
Me too.
This one actually might be my favorite of all the Pokemon themes they ever had.
It's pretty good.
I was wondering, because there's a hard divide on me liking the theme songs of the dub. And it's right towards the end of Johto. I'm like, I don't like any of them after this point. And I was wondering if there's a reason beyond nostalgia for that. Because there's a lot of the Japanese ones I still like later than that. I just don't like any of the English ones anymore.
Yeah.
So I looked into who the composers were. Maybe there was an answer there. And I think I found one. Because the first 4 songs, which are the ones that I love, were all collaborations between John Siegler and John Loeffler. And then after that, they both still did them, but it was all one of them with someone else. It was never the 2 of them together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was just like when the 2 of them worked together, I liked it.
There's a dream team.
Every time they worked with someone else, I didn't like it anymore. What do you think the episode title is in the dub?
Take this house and shop it.
You're in the right track. We're deep into the pun titles era.
Oh, yes.
This episode is called Don't Touch That Dial.
Oh.
Dial spelled
I get
as
it.
the end of Totodile. This aired on October 14th, 2000, which was exactly a year after the Japanese airing. So, differences I noticed at the beginning when Brock talked about them not having grown at all while he's been gone. He doesn't say anything about that. He just says they need to learn to be more mature in the English version.
Oh.
No reference to his absence is made.
He's been here the whole time.
As always, 4Kids have added new music to any period of silence. But they've left most of the original music alone. I know that they stopped doing that at some point. At some point, they start taking out all the game music.
That's rude.
Yeah, right? But the game music is still here for now. They just can't bear any moments of silence. I don't understand. I don't understand. Because doesn't it cost them more to add music for no reason?
Probably.
Yeah, if you're watching this episode and you're wondering which parts of the music were added by 4Kids, anytime that a song is just like, has no melody and is just kind of like random cues, it will be like, bloop, 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 wah, 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 bum, 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 beep, that's 4Kids music.
Beautiful.
And that scene in the Japanese one will have just been silent. The part where, we talked about, I talked about how it seemed like Ash had memory problems when Misty brings up Suicune and he didn't seem to remember it.
Yeah.
That makes more sense in the dub because instead of asking him what he thought about Suicune, she says that maybe we'll see more Pokemon like that in the region. And
then he thinks back on it.
Yeah, and then he thinks back on it, which made a bit more sense to me.
Yeah.
When Ash asks where they have to go to register for the league, in the English version instead, he asks if Brock has any cash in case there's a fee for joining. I kind of, they're trying to make a better joke out of it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Brock's reaction to Chansey is really funny in the dub.
Oh, Nurse Joy!
Chansey, you're not Nurse Joy.
No, she's better.
I liked that. Oh, yeah, right. This is, in my opinion, the wildest change they made. Instead of considering Oak a rival, in the dub, Professor Elm considers him his personal enemy.
Personal enemy?
Those are his words, not mine.
And although I admire and respect Professor Oak's scientific achievements, I am forced to consider him my personal enemy.
Wow. Incredible.
And it seems to stem from Oak giving a paper he wrote an A- when he was at uni.
Oh, I love it.
Nurse Joy in the dub seems to suggest that she's romantically interested in Elm.
Oh.
4Kids love to insert romance where there wasn't any originally.
Right.
But yeah, she wistfully says that she wishes he would put some study into human relationships. In the original, in that part, she just said that he sometimes gets too focused on a subject and talks too much.
I mean, that could just be a platonic relationship.
It could be.
Implying that he's awkward with people.
It's the tone she said it in that implied a romantic thing to me. But
Sometimes I wish Professor Elm would be a little more like Professor Oak and do some research in the area of human relationships too.
And the fact that a saxophone solo started building in the background.
Yeah, and they put a soft filter on. A Salazzle appears in the background and looks directly into the camera. In the dub, Misty says that Ash slept until 4 p.m. on his first day, which is a lot more specific than she was originally.
Right, and very late.
Yeah, likely not true, given how much happened on his first day.
Right.
I would guess he maybe slept until like 10 a.m.
11 at the latest.
Yeah. You know, when Ash is trying to like appeal to Team Rocket to give back the Totodile, he asks them to empathize with the new trainer coming to pick it up.
Yeah.
In the original, all three of Team Rocket say that they can't relate to that. In the dub, James says that his conscience is bothering him a bit about it. And that change actually does seem more in character for James, I think.
The English version was onto his character arc before the Japanese.
Yeah, James usually is the good boy who's fallen in with a bad crowd of the three of them. So when they call Oak at the end and he answers the phone, in the English version, as he sits down, in Japanese, as he sits down, he says, you know, this is the Oak residence. In English, instead, he grumbles about people calling during his soap operas.
Someone always calls during my soap operas.
I'm okay with that change, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good change.
Oh, but then it's immediately followed by a bad change because they took out the part where Oak protests at Ash being called one of his favorite students.
Aww.
That was a shame. Instead, he just says that Ash deserves the praise in the English version.
No, he doesn't. Ash is a loser.
Also, I was really wondering how this was going to go down now that we know that Elm considers Oak his personal enemy in the English version.
He starts taking it out on Ash.
He is very passive-aggressive in his phone call to Oak in the English version. The part where he says he wants to discuss evolutions, instead he talks about how he's going to do a better job handing out starter Pokemon than Oak does.
Now that I'm responsible for sending new trainers out just like you are, Professor, I'm going to make it my goal to do a better job than you do. I mean, just as good a job as you do. But speaking of doing a better job than you, not that I'm saying I am better, or even could do a better job.
Wow. I don't mean a better job, but I do mean a better job.
And at the end, as they're leaving, Brock and Ash both mention catching up with Gary in the dub. Gary wasn't mentioned at all in the original, I don't think.
'Cause they're friends now.
I kind of didn't even know that Gary was in Johto. Though I think that's what the previous episode had been about.
Following Gary into Johto.
Yeah, I think that's basically... I think it's like Ash wasn't sure what to do with himself, and then Oak is like, well, my grandson went to Johto. And then Ash is like, oh, okay.
You can go play with him.
Go bother him. Go bother someone your own age for once.
Quit hanging out here. It's weird. People are whispering rumors.
It's making it really hard to hook up with your mom.
Ew.
That's a 4Kids edition as well.
4 kids.
Oh. And then it ends with Pokemon Karaoke-mon. I kind of forgot they did this in the English versions.
Me too.
I didn't like it, though. The song was You and Me and Pokemon, which I had never heard before, but if you think of the most generic late 90s pop song imaginable, you're thinking of this song.
A magic feeling, never letting me down. I've got the greatest friends that ever could be found.
Cool.
It probably means something to kids who grew up with this, but I didn't. It's not one of the songs from the To Be a Master album, so I don't care.
Right, it's no Team Rocket's Rockin'.
Yeah, it's no What Kind of Pokemon Are You? Those songs are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid and I used to listen to the To Be a Master album, I think the only songs I skipped were Misty's song and Everything Changes.
That one sounds boring.
Yeah, it's pretty boring. I don't think it's a bad song, but you know, when you're a kid listening to your To Be a Master album, you don't want to listen to those two songs.
No.
You're a kid. You want to listen to...
Bop on repeat for 5 hours.
No, you want to listen to The Road to Viridian City.
That is a good one, too.
Yeah, it's great. Well, we're just about done.
What do you mean, just about?
Well, I wonder if you have a question to ask me.
I don't. I'm done. I'm tired.
But
It's
Mel,
been 2 hours.
what about the legacy?
What about the legacy?
There's a couple things.
What?
Suicune.
Yeah.
Well, in Gold and Silver, Suicune wasn't any more important than Entei or Raikou, right? It
Yeah.
was just there. I'm not sure if they were already planning Pokemon Crystal or not. But I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal having Suicune as a mascot was because the show elevated its importance.
Maybe.
Because Ash, he keeps encountering Suicune. Spoiler alert, he goes all around Johto and he keeps bumping into Suicune wherever he goes. And I think that probably was in the show before they decided to put it in the game. Because the same thing happened with Yellow. Yellow is taking stuff from the show and shoving it in the game.
Yeah.
Also, Meowth with his guitar from Meowth's party ended up being a trophy in Smash Bros. Melee.
What a weird legacy you've dug up.
And the Meowth's party demo eventually made it into Pokemon Channel for the GameCube.
Ooh.
But only as a watchable clip. And each time you watch it, Meowth's actions are different because I guess the demo was controllable to an extent. And this one's a bit of a stretch, but bear with me. You know when all of Ash's Pokemon do that joint beam on Team Rocket?
Yeah.
That was real similar to Pokemon Trainer's Final Smash in Smash Brothers, right?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't use Final Smashes.
I haven't played Smash Brothers in years, and I don't think anyone ever really played Pokemon Trainer.
Oh man, what a bunch of losers you play with. Pokemon Trainer's great. Pokemon Trainer's Final Smash has all three of his Pokemon use a combined beam attack, and it's basically the same as this. Except without Pikachu involved.
Cool.
That's it.
You did just call me a loser, but
No,
okay.
I didn't call you a loser. I called the people you played Smash Brothers with a loser.
I don't play Pokemon Trainer either.
Maybe you should try it. It's got Charizard.
I have tried it.
It's got Squirtle.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It was a compliment. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Would you like to join our Patreon? It's at patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub, and you can join our VIPs, Mark Kelly and Jamie Core, or you could join our current Mesmeron, Marley the Changeling.
Our current Mesmeron.
Yeah, we've only got one Mesmeron right now, but we can have multiple Mesmerons.
Our Pac-Man village will be lousy with Mesmerons.
I was going to say I'm going to be at a convention this weekend, but I guess it's last weekend for you hearing this. So,
we didn't record in time.
build a time machine, come back in time, and come to the convention and see me. I will have been selling comics at Thought Bubble in Harrogate.
What a weird promotion.
You can still buy my... Hey, if you want to buy my comics, go to my Etsy store. Etsy.com/SkullPirateMike, probably. I think it's something like that. And just, search for Skull Pirate Mike around on the internet. I'm there. I'm mostly on Blue Sky now. Mel?
Yeah?
You want to say goodbye to the nice people?
Do I have to?
No, I guess not. This one ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be.
It's too long. Why is it so long?
Because we like Pokemon and we end up talking a lot about Pokemon.
I hate Pokemon.
I feel like every time we cover Pokemon, it's some of our longest episodes.
I hate Pokemon, though.
Which one?
Toxicroak.
What? You leave
Yeah.
Greasy Steve alone.
No.
You gave me Greasy Steve, I'm pretty sure.
Did I give you him as a Toxicroak or a Krogunk?
Krogunk.
I don't have any problems with Krogunk. I like Krogunk.
Yeah, he's cool.
Toxicroak is icky.
Yeah, he's icky.